Good afternoon and welcome to Not Minding My Own Business. I am your host, Russell Farbier, your estate planning and elder law attorney. And I am joined today by Dawn Grandstrom of New York Life. Dawn, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm glad to have you here. We're having a nice chat before we started recording. You got to share all of my computer woes with the computer not cooperating with me today, but you know, here we are. So, Dawn, can you tell our listeners a little bit about you and your company?
Should we start with my personal life or my job?
Wherever you like to start.
Okay, well, I'm a mom of 4 kids. I have 4 boys, 13 down to 2. They keep me pretty busy. We also have a puppy because I like chaos.
And you don't like sleep, clearly, because
because you got to let the puppy out constantly. Yeah. And the toddler doesn't let me sleep already. So it's like having 2 toddlers, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I became a New York Life agent during the pandemic. When everything shut down, my kids were doing virtual school, and I found out I was pregnant. So I started this new job and the office closed, and I was like, okay, we're only meeting virtually. How am I going to do this? This is going to be challenging. And yet I was able to thrive. And I actually made executive council last year and went to Texas.
What is that? What does executive council mean?
There are different levels based on, the amount of business you bring in each year. So I made the executive council level, and they pay for us to go to Texas, in my case, and go to trainings. And there's some fun stuff like dinners and things like that. But they pay for your hotel, they pay for your airfare, pay for your food. You can bring family if you want, but I chose to travel by myself, which was amazing.
I can imagine why. It was probably a nice little break for you.
I only had to worry about myself for my schedule. It was amazing. It was like being in college again, essentially.
Now, I don't know if you've had a dog before, but I hate to break it to you that they go through this toddler stage, but then when they become seniors, they go through the same thing all over again.
Oh yeah, I've had dogs.
Yeah, because we have a 13-year-old dog, and he loves to wake me up by putting his paws up on me while I'm sleeping. So,
what time is it? Just different times?
This morning it was 5:50, but it varies, but it's usually somewhere between 5 and 7. So that's just the way that goes.
Clock.
He is my alarm clock. So
never oversleep.
So have you been in insurance for a long period of time, or was this a new career transition for you when you started with New York Life?
I started in March of 2020. Okay. Before that, I worked for Reading Hospital.
Okay. And what did you do for Reading Hospital?
I was a patient care assistant as well as a unit support coordinator.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about what sort of products that you offer through New York Life.
Well, the obvious life insurance, we do term as well as whole life. We do also offer individual disability insurance, long-term care options, which I'm very excited about. It's actually Long-Term Care Awareness Month. And they are starting to enact different changes in the laws to make long-term care mandatory. So you would either pick it for yourself or they will pick it for you. I know they enacted that in Washington. They're doing it in New York. Not sure which state's next, but they're talking about Pennsylvania.
So talk a little bit more about that, about who's making it mandatory. Is it New York Life or is it the government?
Oh, no, sorry. No. Like they're enacting laws because Medicare is getting overtaxed. So they're trying to lighten the burden on that because people are living longer, and therefore they're having more of a need for long-term care.
Right. And so what kind of products do you offer that would lighten that load for people?
Well, we have 3 different long-term care products. Secure Care being one of them. Asset Flex is my personal favorite. With our Asset Flex product, you can use it as a long-term care benefit. And if you were to pass away before you use it, there's a death benefit component. And if you decide you don't need it and you don't want the death benefit, there's a return of premium option.
Oh,
So there's literally no way to lose. And, I compare it to like if you got your car insurance premiums for never having a claim back, I'm sure that would be a good thing.
Yeah. And that's the major criticism of long-term care insurance is that you're paying for insurance for something you very well may never ever use. And
you don't.
Right. And then it can feel like you're just throwing money away. So having
Exactly.
that flexible option is great because like you said, you got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I love that product. The underwriting is also very simple. So I find people sail right through the underwriting process. So that's just good for everybody.
So what is the underwriting process for something like that?
They do a telephone interview, and unless you have a lot going on medically, they pull medical records if you do have a lot of health issues.
Okay.
So they'll look at your medical records.
Okay. And then of course you also do life insurance. And so can you explain to our listeners what's the difference between term and whole life?
Well, the way I compare it for people is our term insurance is kind of like renting an apartment, and whole life is more like owning a house.
It's a very good analogy. So term is for a period of years, and then it ends. But you can accrue cash in a whole life policy.
Yes. It's permanent insurance that accrues cash value, and the death benefit also continues to increase. And the pay period's customizable. So if you want to pay it off sooner, you can, or you can stretch it out if that's, more feasible for your budget.
Okay. And then you have up on the screen there a PDA program. What is that PDA program?
That's basically putting more money into, it's called a premium deposit account. So you'd be funding it for the year. And right now, until November 30th, we're offering this interest rate. It'll be 10% for the first year. And then for 5 years after that, it's 4.75%. My graphic's a little wrong. It says 4.2.
Oh, well, that's a very nice offer. I don't know that you're getting 10% of your money anywhere.
I know. That's why it's like it's really great.
Yeah. So what?
And I just want to mention, sorry, but I didn't mean to interrupt you. All of our term products have a conversion option, so you're able to convert to whole life from the term policy, and you don't have to go through underwriting again. So you can lock in your insurability, your rating with the term policy, and then when you're ready, you can convert it to whole life.
And that's great because that way you can lock in your insurability when you're young for a very inexpensive price. And then that's what my wife and I did is we locked in our insurability maybe 10 years ago, but we only recently converted a big portion of it to whole life.
Nice.
So that's, yeah, that's the way to go. I'm, certainly. What type of clients are you working with? Are you working with young families, older families?
I kind of run the gamut, but I particularly thrive, I think, with families, especially, other mothers, because we connect.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm happy to talk to anyone, help anyone. I just notice I tend to, connect with other moms.
Oh, and that makes a lot of sense. You're sort of down in the trenches, and I think we underappreciate moms in general, that we don't recognize that the mom who's there getting kids to school or getting up with kids, like that's a full-time job, and then you're doing another job. So I'm sure that it's very easy for you to connect with other moms who are down in the trenches with you.
Yeah, you wear many hats, as I always say.
Uh, absolutely. Absolutely. So are you originally from the Berks County area?
I lived in Horsham. I moved here in 2007, actually to live with my ex-husband.
Oh,
Um, and we live about 5 minutes apart from each other, and we co-parent two of my sons.
that's that's very nice to hear that you use the word co-parent because unfortunately that's not always the case. But it's good that you're both able to work together for your
Yeah,
kids.
it's for them. I mean, they
Yeah.
they come first. Their well-being, emotionally, physically.
Okay. And what is your favorite thing about the area?
Hmm. My favorite thing, I guess, the community. I always enjoy the local events that we have because it feels like there's always something going on. Um, I'm in Birdsboro, and we have a little farmers market in the spring and fall, which is really nice. And we have Christmas in Birdsboro, events like that. There's always something going on, and it's just I like the small town feel.
Yeah, it's definitely a little different than Horsham. Horsham's a bit busier than
Oh,
Birdsboro, but
major traffic for one thing.
absolutely. And how do you spend your time when you aren't working? I probably know
Um,
the answer, but
Yeah, busy with my kids. I try to do like as much fun things with them. I try to have some one-on-one time with them, which can be really difficult
Mhm.
because there's four of them. But I do like even if it's just 5-10 minutes talking to them, doing an activity with them. I try to have that special connection with each of them.
That's great. And I know we talked earlier before we went on screen that you work from home, so I'm sure that gives you the ability, you know, how do you find working from home?
I love it. Like I'm here with my dog right now. She's asleep next to me. So I'm able to like walk her and take care of her, and she's good all day. I love that. And I'm also here when my kids come home, when they get off the bus.
Right. And most of your client contact is it by phone or video call?
Phone calls and Zoom.
Eh,
I've had a couple face-to-face clients, but not many.
Well, especially if most of your a lot of your clientele are working moms, they don't have time to come and see you in person, but they can
Yeah.
probably do a Zoom call with you.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
commute for anyone. It's great. You just
Yeah.
hop on.
Yeah. Now, do you get to go away on vacation at all with your kids?
We go to Jersey every July. We go to New Jersey, and for the week we get a hotel.
Very nice, very nice. So you're beach people.
Yes. We love the boardwalk. We love going to the beach.
Which which beach do you like to go to?
Ocean City.
Yes, Ocean City is one of our favorites as well.
Nice.
Uh, and it's nice for kids because it's there's no alcohol, there are no bars, so it's very clean, family friendly.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a blast. Like we're already planning, when we're leaving. What are we doing next year?
Ab- Absolutely. So, what is something about your industry that the average person wouldn't be aware of?
I find that people think, they need less insurance than they do. Like there's
Okay.
kind of a sticker shock of like, oh my goodness, I'm worth that much dead. Because I go through like we have a system called Guide Me, and it shows, if you were to replace X amount of income for a certain amount of years, cover this amount of debt, whether it be a mortgage or a credit card or car payment, or maybe put aside money for college for your kids. People will need easily 2 million.
Yeah.
And,
So I think a good question though is what is the purpose of life insurance?
to
What?
make sure that your family is protected if something were to happen to you, that they won't have to sell their home, that they won't have to start a GoFundMe or compromise their way of living at all, just because, you know, there's a death in the family. I mean, there's already the emotional component. Let's not add to it with financial burdens.
Right. And I think it's important for people to think about what they're replacing with that life insurance. What do you typically advise people about what that money is supposed to replace?
Like I said, we look at income replacement. We look at paying off a mortgage. If, that's in the mix. If there's any debts that people co-signed for that would be responsible if something were to happen to you. If you'd like to take care of college money for any children you have, if you'd like to, make sure that's covered for them. And people have benefits through work, but like I asked them and they never know how much it is or who they contact about it. So I just find that, just a general education about what you have and how to maximize it. Because I always tell people, I was like, if you have insurance through work, see if you can double it, see if you can get more. Because the underwriting is usually very simple and people can maximize it for very little cost.
Right. And we when we work with clients on estate planning, a lot of times the conversation is also about life insurance because the two sort of can go hand in hand.
Right.
Do you find that when you're talking to people about life insurance, it's also in the context of thinking about their estate planning?
Oh yeah, because and that's another reason. It can preserve your estate because it gets passed on tax free.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's important for people too.
And when someone wants to work with you, what is the process for getting life insurance?
As far as sitting down and meeting, or as far as
Well,
once they apply.
just walk me through from the point of when someone says, I think I want to get life insurance and I want to work with Dawn. What does that look like?
Well, we, have a chat. We get to know each other. We have, like I said, New York Life has something called Guide Me, which, walks them through their life, their goals, their needs. And then we come up with a plan based on what their needs are and the various products that would, fit that. Like I get to know them, their needs, their budget, what they're comfortable with.
So it's a very customized plan that you're putting together. And what information do you usually need from people?
We talk about what their income is, if they have a mortgage, if they have debts, how much they're saving for retirement, what their current coverage is, their family, things like that. We talk a little bit about their health because that can impact underwriting. So in order to get, kind of an estimate of what it might cost them, we talk about like, are you a smoker? How would you rate your health? I don't make the final decision. Obviously, that's the underwriters. And that's kind of the next step once you apply. You go through underwriting.
So what does that look like? Does that require a medical exam or is it just looking at medical records?
It depends on the amount and the age, but generally you would get blood work and we send an examiner to your home if you're comfortable with that, or you can go to a facility.
So it's always nice having someone come into your home with a needle,
I had it done while I was pregnant. It took about 15 minutes. It was nice and easy and convenient.
No, I've done it too, and it is easy, it is convenient, but it's just no one likes getting blood taken. So
I guess because I was pregnant, I was kind of like, I'm already pushing pincushion, so just bring it.
yeah, for you it wasn't much of a change at that point, but well, Dawn, thank you so much for taking the time to be here to talk with us. What is something people should be more aware of about what you do?
What should people be aware of? Well, like I said, it's more than just life insurance that New York Life offers. We also have long-term care planning, individual disability coverage, and we have investment products as well, like fixed deferred annuities and things like that.
Okay. Wonderful. And if there are folks that want to get in touch with you, that want to work with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
My cell or my email address.
Okay. What are those?
Oh, I was like, can I say them? I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
My cell number is 215-850-6287.
And your
And
email?
Yeah, sorry. It's a different name, which I know is a little confusing, but it's dbank@ft.newyorklife.com.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being here, Dawn. And we'll see you next week right here on Not Minding My Own Business.
Thank you so much for having me and taking the time. I really appreciate it.